Oh, I got some juicy news for you. Profit First app version 2.0 is here. With an enhanced user experience and video guidance throughout, you can now be even more confident in your Profit First implementation. Plus, listeners who work with a certified Profit First professional get extra benefits. Check it out now at www.profitfirstapp.com.
Today, right here, right now, this is the moment that you will finally say,
I'm growing my accounting practice, and you're going to discover exactly how right here, right now,
on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ron Saharyan, co-founder of Profit First Professionals.
And I'm Liz Szporn, guide here at Profit First Professionals.
And I'm Mike Michalowicz, author of Profit First. And guess what? You're listening to GMAP, stands for Grow My Accounting Practice. We are here to teach you the step-by-step on exactly that, how to grow your practice if you're a bookkeeper, if you're an accountant, or a coach. And we do it through a great guest interview, including today's interview. Plus, Ron has insider access, something he's developed for our office we think you can use over at your office. And I have a GMAP Now task. The one task, if you do it, you'll see results by the end of this show.
Awesome, guys. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find us on any podcatcher out there. Make sure you like and subscribe. Today's episode brought to you by Sums Plus Solutions, the go-to staffing firm of Profit First professionals globally. And I'm not just talking about your typical staffing firm. These guys have created a knowledge base that they've just taken, put into the heads of these awesome resources for our members and also for you. Reach out to Sums Plus Solutions. Tell them Ron said hello.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron. Hey, how's it going today?
Good. Really good. Really good. I'm excited today's show.
Me too. Yeah. So let's just get into it. Today, Ron and I are having a little bit of an insider's access takeover conversation. And what we wanted to do is, knowing that it's still early in 2026, we want to have a conversation and an interview and a chat about the major challenges that are facing accounting and bookkeeping firm owners. And we know there are lots of spooky stories out there, a lot of things that people are not feeling particularly confident or comfortable with. And so we wanted to share a little bit about how we're feeling, how we're thinking, and how we're guiding our members and Profit First professionals in general to navigate these challenges. And, I think with everything, it's always scary at the beginning. Right. And I think every new year you find the new spooky story. And so part of what we have the opportunity to do is to really just shed some light on things and just say, you know what? Yeah, it's a big deal, but it's not a crusher. It's not going to kill you. We can do this.
I'm glad we're doing this, Liz, because, it gives us a time to reflect on the teachings of last year and the previous 9 years. And I'm very happy to share what I've seen going on in the accounting, bookkeeping industry over the past 10 years. This is still a newer industry for me, even though I've been in it for 10, 11 years. And so I think my perspective is pretty unique when it comes to coaching thousands upon thousands of bookkeeping and accounting firms throughout the globe. And so, this can be the year that you finally say, I'm growing my accounting practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's only going to happen is if you actually do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's the number one thing. So, all right, Liz, what do we got? I know we have a bunch of various different questions, but
I wrote a bunch of questions for you. And I think, we can have just a nice conversation about this. I have, access to hundreds of bookkeeping firms now. You have experience with thousands, and there's so many things that I learned from our members and so many questions that they have. And so I just wanted to go through some of the major challenges. And I'm going to start with this first one. This is something we see all the time. Our members and people in general get stuck in what's called like the technician's trap.
Yeah.
Right? They are doing it. Do you remember that book we read years ago called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham? Do you remember that book? And he had a really nice little framework of how to sort of picture what you are based on what you're doing. And so many people, when I shared that with them, they're like, oh my gosh, I am a technician. I'm not a CEO. I'm not even a director at this point. I am my worst paid employee at this moment. And so one of the questions or things to think about is like, where are the places that CEOs or accounting firms need to pivot to get out of the technician trap. And one of the things that is on every lip in the world is AI. What are your thoughts about how to get them out, maybe using something like AI, something like that?
Yeah. So, I think it starts before that.
Mhm.
Before you're in the, you start out in the technician trap, right? And I've seen over and over, year after year, members and ex-members not being able to elevate themselves out of it. It's a control issue, is what it comes down to. It's a confidence issue. It's a lack of confidence issue. And so I
Yeah.
think that before we really get into, what are the technical tools available for us to elevate our skill set, I think it starts with your head, right?
Mhm.
Like, are you building an accounting firm, or are you building a job? Are you going to envision yourself as a CEO, or are you going to envision yourself as an accountant? Right? Because if you're visioning yourself as a CEO, your responsibility is to grow your business, which means procuring customers, hiring people, delivering services. If you're looking to be an accountant, well, then you get business and you deliver services. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you may hire people to do the work, right? Yes, you might have a website. Yes, you may market, but you're not a CEO. Okay. So the number one thing is to take a step back and say, you know what? Do I want to be a CEO, or do I want to be an awesome technician that does this? And that's fine. If you
Yeah.
want to be a great technician that you enjoy doing the work, well, great. Stay in that lane. Don't try to be a visionary. Don't try to be a CEO. Build your company on exactly what you want to do. Don't build it based upon what, Joe over there is building, or Sue over there is building. If you want to be a technical operator of a phenomenal accounting and bookkeeping firm, you can be it. Be it. Awesome. And Profit First is a great tool for you to be an operator with. But if you do want to become the CEO, okay, then my suggestion would be to where are you deepening your knowledge? What other CEOs are you talking with? What room are you in? And my suggestion would be to find a room of other CEOs, okay, or aspiring CEOs, pay down that money, open up a personal development account, right? Fund that so that you can elevate and understand what it means to be a CEO.
Yeah, it's great. And I talk about this so often. And I find that I love the starting, like start out with a vision, start about where you want to go. Like what are you trying to build? I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talk about a lot is they've already dug themselves into it. They started out, they said, I am the CEO. I'm going to hire, I'm not going to do this. And then they find themselves, for myriad reasons, not able to do it. And so what I've been spending a lot of time on, it was sort of towards the end of the year, and definitely now as we're setting the stage for a more successful, productive, profitable 2026, is simply I'm taking a page out of Mr. James Clear's book, The Atomic Habits, and just being like, let's just put one thing. What's one thing that will move you closer to being more of the CEO? What if we put on Tuesday mornings from 8 to 9, you just network for, an hour or whatever, like holding themselves accountable, starting with time blocking. Because what I find to be one of the hardest things is we don't value our own schedule if it's not client facing. And so being able to build that muscle of, it is still working. It is work. This is important. This is as valuable as that client facing time, because it builds that client facing time later. So those are some of
Yeah.
the technical things that I've been talking about a lot. Just value your own time. Where do you
Well,
actually, you know what? So I was meeting with a member last week, and she's working with a group, and the goal is $15 million in revenue. And she has this mantra, and she taped it up, and she's like, I thought like this before, but I never did it. And she said, is this what the CEO of a $15 million company would be doing right now? So she's like, every time she does something, she's like, huh. And because she was so mad at herself when I hopped on, she's like, "I'm really in a bad mood, Liz. I'm in a terrible mood." I was like, "Uh-oh, what?"
Well, time out. Can I time you out?
Yeah.
Time out. Because what you just said there is exactly, the right way to move this stuff. Just like profit first, right? When people are implementing profit first, they start having these second guessings of what they should be doing with their money, wherein before they would just go ahead and spend it. This is the exact same thing as if you're trying to elevate your career. Is, you know what? Start thinking like it. Is this the decision that somebody in this position would make? Am I doing what somebody in this position is doing? Yeah, Jamie Dimon is not making cold calls. Jamie Dimon is not doing a report. Jamie Dimon is, this is the CEO of JP Morgan.
I was like, I don't know who Jamie Dimon is.
These guys aren't doing client work.
Reconciling is what she was doing. And she's like, I'm so mad at myself right now. I'm like rage reconciling because I'm so mad.
But
I love that.
Another thing is, whose fault is that? Everybody who here is listening to me. So this might be a little bit of tough love for you, but you know what decisions you need to make in order to get to the next level. You know what you need to stop doing, okay, in order to get to the next level. My question to you is, what is holding you back? Like what is the fear, okay, of relinquishing some of the roles and responsibilities that got you there, right? We need to figure that out. Once we can understand what's holding us back, why don't we want to give up control? Why don't we want to lose a customer? Why don't we want to get yelled at? I mean, regardless of the reasons, we need to divorce ourselves of some of that stuff in order to grow the business. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. I have another question for you.
Okay.
This one is about burnout. Oof. So there's a lot of burnout in this industry in general, and there are big concerns with people saying no one wants to come in to this industry. We have a tax person shortage, a tax accounting firm owner shortage, and it's because I'm gonna have to say they do not make it look pretty or fun. No. And so you have these 25-year-olds like, why would I do this? It looks terrible. They're miserable for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
And then So let's talk about burnout and sort of thinking about.
Here's the reality of it.
Yeah.
If you're burnt out, you've got bad systems and processes and you don't have guardrails.
So where do you see the system breaking down? Because I agree with you. Where do you see it?
I see it breaking down by saying yes and by not delegating. That's primarily it. And if your staff is burnt out, you stink as an owner. No doubt about it. Your staff shouldn't be burnt out. There's no way. It's bad systems, processes, everything. The way technology is today, the way you know what's going to happen year after year after year after year. I mean, come on. Bookkeeping and accounting services can be scaled. The only hard thing is sales. So if you think about it, going out and getting sales, and not being able to deliver it and having everybody to work 40, 80, 90 hours a week, well, then, yeah, you're going to have burnt out, but you did it because you were good at sales. Now, if you're doing it because you can't say no and you're just bringing in clients and clients and clients, well, then that's your own fault. It's usually the owner's fault for everything in the business.
Yeah.
You can be burnt out, but I don't think anybody's been burnt out necessarily here because we enforce being efficient and effective, right? And
I was definitely burnt out during COVID. For 100%. I think we all were. And that was beyond our control, but I was new and I said yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I took on because I was so nervous that I would fail at this job. And I was nervous that I would fail our members. And I said yes to everything. And so I was doing so much and I was burnt out. I know. And you joked, you're like, you didn't say uncle. But I was really, it was not my favorite time ever. And so it's one of those things though, that I did it. So to your point about I just kept saying yes. And then as soon as you taught me this, you didn't teach me, but as soon as I started saying no to you, you've rued that day.
Let's talk about you realized that you could say no without any repercussions, without any, ill will towards you. Right. And so
100%.
That's the difference, right? Your employees I don't like even using the word employees. It's almost like, Liz has got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I want to make it as easy as possible for Liz to get her stuff done because it usually helps ours. And not anytime your staff, in my opinion, is afraid to say no or afraid to push back on you, you've got a communication issue and a leadership issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's all this is coming down to. Burnout is a result of a lack of leadership, quite honestly.
Yeah. One of the other, besides time and systems, but I guess this is a system, many people historically, and it's not so much, we've changed how we teach this too. We're teaching our members to do profit first in their own business. And historically, there have been people who said no or have done a little bit of it and whatever. What do you, and then we know that this is actually impacting their entire business, right?
Yep.
Because they're not allocating, they're not
Yep.
paying themselves. They're stressed about payroll. They're not able to do their professional development. They're not paying us. So they may have to leave membership, which is also a stressor.
It's a whole string. It's a whole thing of bad decisions.
What do we do about it? If you were to give one thing to a new member, what's the first thing you would tell them to do?
Are you ready to break the cycle?
Nice.
Okay. Because that's what we're talking about, is some sort of behavior intercept to stop doing what we've been doing and justifying us doing those same decisions. We have to break that. And profit first is the ultimate system that breaks those behaviors, right? It works with your behaviors. That's the beauty. It puts guardrails in place for it. So, one of the most important things of every business owner, they should be experiencing what they're selling. Right? They should be awesome at what they're selling. And so early on, it was hard to enforce the adoption of profit first in businesses, but now it's been mandatory, right? Because here's the thing, statistically speaking, the accounting firms that you're talking to may not be running the best businesses out there, right? That's just statistics. And so I want to work with an accounting firm that's profitable, an accounting firm that their staff gets a good night's sleep, an accounting firm that is systems, processes, and their staff is not burned out. Right. And so when you're, it's too much.
Yeah. And one of the things that's so exciting and the big change since I've been here, which is 6 years, is one of the biggest changes that we've had to help with our member adoption early on. And so that they can have that story, they can buy the house and tell their clients, listen, this is literally what I did, how I run my business, and what it's done for me. And so, we have now something called First 5, Next 5. And so we teach our members how to get Profit First running in 5 days. We teach them how to do that for their clients. But then we also have the app. And so we've made Profit First app makes so much simpler the idea of their own client adoption. And then they're able to see in real time how quickly they're able to celebrate, how quickly their clients have been implementing and celebrating and growing with Profit First. So there's so many ways that we've made that piece easier to avoid burnout. We know that a stressed out member is not having a good time, and we want everyone to have fun.
No, and that's why we also implemented more accountability groups, small group pods, things like that. Improving the technology.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to everybody that you and I coach wants to run a better business, just like every person that hires an accounting or bookkeeping firm. They want to run a better business. Yeah. I'm not sharing with anybody anything that I'm not doing. Yeah. Everything that I've coached, everything that, I'm about is what I've personally have done and do on a daily basis. Right. And so walking the talk is number one, right? Yeah. Walking the talk. You got to do it, guys. And so, of course I say this with Profit First, but even before Profit First, I was running Profit First, right? And so, this stuff, it's the fundamentals of life and the fundamentals of business are always going to be rock solid. And, if we can get back to basics on everything, then that makes the big picture that much clearer. And so, the leadership, okay, is what we're talking about here. Really, leadership, growing a business, growing ourselves, stepping up, showing up, leading by example with our customers. Every single one of owner is a role model to your staff. Every single person here who has staff, their staff is evaluating them. When Liz, I think I've insured this. I know when you first started, you were evaluating us. Right? Is this guy for real? Is this company for real? Are these guys going to be doing what they say they're going to be doing? Okay. Yeah. And so keep that in mind, guys, as you're building and growing your businesses, that they are measuring you on every single thing you do. So if you say, we're going to expand and you don't do it, that's a negative. I'm going to fire this client. You don't fire that client. Negative. Yep. We're going to do this. You don't do this. I'm going to stop doing this and don't do this.
Yep.
You're building the wrong type of culture.
Yep. That's great. Thank you. And I want to actually piggyback on one of the things you just said. My next question for you is really about the power and importance of letting go your non-ideal clients and what that allows, how that affects burnout, how that affects company morale and culture and all of those things and profit. So talk about why firing a client is actually a good thing.
Yeah, because the stress of a bad customer, while may not be painful to me as the business owner, it may be a little bit painful, but the staff that has to deal with this customer on a regular basis, it's upsetting their life. No doubt about it. It's upset. They're worried about coming in the morning and that they're going to have a phone call with this person. They're worried about if this person does this, are they going to get fired? They're carrying it home. They're worried. They're not getting good night's sleep. It's affecting their relationships. It's affecting their work. All because I need to keep that $600 coming on in. No. It's $600, $1,000, $10,000. It's not worth it. Right. The support of your staff is the number one thing that a business owner can do. Like, I truly believe, you guys know, I have your back no matter what. There's no one client that's going to make or break us. Right. Okay. And if there is a client that is being unruly or just not doing this or not paying or anything, we have to let them go. It's not worth it.
Yeah. I remember one of the early days when I was new here and
those must have been fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It was just sort of figuring it out. And I saw the rule, the immutable law of no jerks allowed is how I say it. And I thought, oh, that's funny and sort of kitschy and tongue in cheek. And then I saw that it was real. And I remember this day y'all had given me probably 15 or 20 members to work with. And then I was like, okay. And then I got like 25 more or something like that. So I had a nice roster and I was like, okay, you can give me the tough ones now.
Yeah.
And I remember you or Aaron or both were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, you gave me all the nice ones. You can give me, I'm right. I get it. I'm good now. Let's go. And then it's either Aaron or you, or probably even Billy Ann was like, what are you talking about? This is our members. That no jerks allowed policy is real. And I just sat there going like, I had never been in a place where I actually, and still to this day, enjoy every single member. So I know that that's a big part of how we ensure we don't actually have to fire clients very often, if ever. I've done it once since I've been here. And it's because you set in place this respect, but this declaration to people. Say, listen, you're not going to get in here if you act like this, or this. And then we do, the way that we interview people is very strategic and intentional. We're sussing you up. We're checking you out. We're doing our pre-call planning. We're making sure you're going to be okay. The way that someone talks to me, talks to you on this call, the way that they show up says a lot. And so I know soon when I was doing sales more regularly, I had every ounce of confidence that if I didn't believe they would be here, you'd be like, yeah, fine, great. They should be here. Right.
Yeah.
And I love that. So where did that come from? How did you do that? Because I think that's the the precursor to having to fire is just not bringing on turds. Sorry, that's not nice. Not bringing on non-A players.
Well, no, I don't know if it's non-A players, because you can have an A player that is a dick, right?
Yeah.
So
ideal, non-ideal clients. We'll just say ideal. That covers all our bases.
that was me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is me making up for very, very poor behavior at a much younger age, right? And so, I was that manager that didn't care about anything. I didn't care if you were a single mom. I didn't care if you were a single dad, right? Hit your numbers, do this. I don't care if your kid just ran away, right? I don't care if your dog just died. I don't care that blah, 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 blah. You need to hit your effing numbers.
Mm.
So that's who I was.
No,
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I was good at it. And our businesses were rock solid. It used to be, yeah, I know. It used to be, listen, what do you, if you work here, you will make more money than you ever made, but it's going to be difficult. And my job is not to be your friend and not love on you. That's what it was. Right. And so then when I had the opportunity to do this, to build this with Mike and seeing what my wife and everything, I said, no way. I don't know what happened. Maybe my parents, got older, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I matured at 40,
Yeah.
whatever. But I decided to design a business that was going to be attractive for everybody. Right.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody, to treat people because I've never been a believer that business comes first, life comes first. I've never had a job where I worked 40, 50 hours a week. I was always a great salesperson, so I could just make it happen. And so I've never, ever, and I didn't understand why people were busting their ass and doing all this stuff when you can do it in a time amount. You can do it if you if you put guardrails in time. You can be efficient and effective. Right? You don't have to be putting on tons of hours, and you can be nice. You can be nice.
I agree. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And I'm glad you're no longer that Ron, because we would not be having a conversation right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He can rear its ugly head every now and then, but you do a good job of corking him. He's pretty much corked.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
So I want to move.
But that's also a company journey too, Liz.
Yeah.
It can be your company journey. Like, listen, if you've been an asshole boss, you can go in the next day and say, hey, I've been an asshole. I need help. I'm changing.
Yeah.
Right. When we're talking about leadership, right? I'm wrong a lot more than I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not an ego thing. I'm not here to try to be right. I'm here to help the team.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. My next question is about pricing. It's one of your favorite subjects. Yeah. I know you love sales and pricing. I know. And so this is pricing your transformation. We all love the word transformation around here, like taking our members from here to here so they can take their clients from here to here is basically what the job of a financial person is. A bookkeeper and accountant is taking people from chaos to clarity, from, lack of profit and sort of chaos financially to saying, I understand where things should be going. Profit First is the perfect example of that. So when we're working, when we look at the challenges that people have and looking at 26 and what's happening, we know, everybody knows it. Whether they're doing it or not is a different story. We know hourly is not good for us. It just isn't. It's archaic. It doesn't work. People don't actually want it. So talk to us about your thoughts on first steps to getting into a tiered or value pricing model. How do you, why is that so important? We'll just start there actually. Why is that so important?
There's 160 billable hours in a month. Okay. You cap your hours at 160. You only can do so much. So right there alone is the justification for, more of a fixed investment, right? For work being done, the deliverables. So that's the first thing there. So I'm not a believer in capping my income. All right. And so the hourly does that. Now, there's a couple of different things that we really want to think about. Not everybody should be selling, $1 million subscriptions. It's a different world. It's a different thing. Not everybody should be selling seashells, right? At the seashore. It's a different type of sale. So one of the things is getting a good understanding of your comfort level. Okay. What do you want to build? Who do you want to serve? What do you want to earn? Right? We got to make sure that those are in congruence when we're talking about pricing, right? And let's just say, for an example, all right, we're pricing our services, and our services are about on average been $299 a month, $300 a month. Okay. You're comfortable with that pricing. You're comfortable with the work that you're doing. Your customers seem to be happy. You have low turnover. Your sales are, you're nailing them. It is. But you know what? You want more. You hear other people billing more. You hear other people, doing all this stuff. You want to have 50 customers at an average annual value of 20,000. Well, you think you do.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. And so one of the things I like to do is make sure that the pond that you're fishing in, that you're really familiar with, if you're going to look to really get to the next level, okay, in terms of billing, in terms of service, in terms of everything, you're going to have to take your fishing pole and go to another pond. Now, this other pond, okay, it's going to have smarter fish in it. It's going to have people that have been fishing there and know where all the things are. It's going to be harder to land that fish. It's going to be harder to find out what bait they're using all throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go through that effort and stick with it, we can do it. But here's that thing. You're going to have to be willing to go through that learning curve. And as you're going through that learning curve, you're going to hear a lot more no's than you are yes. Are you mentally prepared for that? I mean, really mentally prepared for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of no's and it's not going to be working. Then you got the person, you did the deal. You now, congratulations, went from $300 a month to $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Still kind of doing the same services. You just wrapped them up a little prettier, stuck a nicer bow on it, but it's still accounting and bookkeeping and profit first. You're just charging more, right?
Yeah.
If the conversation is not elevated to be in line with what that buyer's normal cadence vernacular is, you're not going to renew that person at the end of the year.
What do you mean by their cadence, their vernacular? Give me a specific.
There's a different, the buyer of $300 things versus the buyer of $1,000 things, if it's the same product, has different expectations. If I'm going to buy a $3,000 bag, I'm going to have a lot different expectations than if I'm buying a $10 bag. Okay. Right. The salesperson is going to want to educate me a little bit more. The threading is going to be different. The logos are going to be lined up, and I'm going to expect that. I'm going to expect that they know where this is sourced, where this is, what this is, what this is. And I'm going to understand why it's $3,000. And conversely, I'm also going to understand why it's $10. So if you're having a conversation and you're using the exact same methodology in cadence with the $300 buyer, the $1,000 buyer is not going to say anything. They're just going to move on to the next direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So here's the thing. Not only get ready for the emotional change, but we're going to have to up level the stuff that we've been doing regularly. So you may not want to go from the Toyota to the Ferrari, but you could go from the Toyota, base model to the top of the line Toyota easily.
Yep.
And there's a lot more margin in that base model to the luxury model. And all you're doing is adding profit first.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. That's one of my favorite games to play with our members. I was doing that this morning, helping a member move, sort of alter her tiers a little bit. And I think about it just high level when they're starting to build it is, here's one way to think about what you're doing, because you're going to be providing the same thing, right? It's profit first, it's bookkeeping, and maybe some tax. That's it. Or for this person, she was like, what if I have 3 tiers and it's like bookkeeping only, profit first only, and then bookkeeping and profit first only. I'm like, okay, we could play with that. Let's try. Let's just see. But then where I love getting into it is like, you don't have to necessarily change too much about those pieces. Thinking of it as, I'm going to meet with you once a month. I'm going to meet with you once a quarter. And I'm actually never going to meet with you. I'm going to send you a Loom video. Even the way that you're communicating levels up. Even if you're communicating essentially the same information, it's your time, you're the talent, they want to spend time with you. And so even like the first step to getting into tiers, just think of, how often do I want to see them? And do they get access to me at all?
And do I even want that? I was coaching a member and they were like, I really don't want to talk to my customers as much as everybody else does. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And they were kind of like embarrassed about it. They kind of felt shame. I'm like, dude, no, not at all. Listen, I get it. Let's build what you want.
Yeah.
Not what you think you should have. Let's build what you want.
Yep. I love it. Okay. Hey, thanks. That's good for today. That felt really nice, Ron. Thank you so much for these insider access. This is a nice little insight into how Ron coaches and the conversations that I have. And if this at all seems interesting to you and you'd like to learn a little bit more about what membership looks like, I really encourage you to go to profitfirstprofessionals.com. On there, you'll see a little button that says Become a Profit First Professional. And if this is something that you'd like to dive a little deeper on, you can have a conversation with Ron, with Billy Ann, or with me, and then we'll see if this makes sense for you and your firm and your clients.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.